Chinese women heartless? Well, from a Western perspective, actually, yes. So are Chinese men.
중국에서 수년 동안 거주했으며 중국인 여성을 만나 결혼까지 했다는 이 남성. 그러나 중국인과 결혼을 생각하고 있다면 단단히 각오해야 한다는 조언부터 합니다. 다른 아시아 국가에서는 좀처럼 찾아볼 수 없는 특별한 이유가 있다고 하는데요. 대체 무슨 까닭인지 영상으로 확인해 보시죠.
Chinese women heartless? Well, from a Western perspective, actually, yes. So are Chinese men. But it has a lot to do with family, and I'm going to explain it to you in this video. So one of the weirdest questions I got asked when I first got to China, if my mother and my wife had fallen into the water and I had to choose which one to save, jump in and save them, who would I choose? And I thought it was a weird question. Apparently it's a very common question in China. Anyway, I thought to myself, well, obviously I'm fairly confident I could save both of them. But I told them, well, obviously I'd jump in and save my wife. And they were horrified because apparently that is the wrong answer. And I thought this really weird because, sorry mom, but my mother's obviously lived her life. She's had me, she's done everything she needs to do type thing. In 2015, there was an entrance exam for lawyers. And one of the questions, they changed it up a little bit, but one of the questions was, if you had to choose between saving your girlfriend or your mother from a fire, who would you choose? And if they chose their girlfriend and not the mother, they got the question wrong and they'd fail, which is kind of silly. And family here comes way, way, way above personal relationships. Concerning or concerned message from a subscriber who's in America. Now the gist of his story goes, he met his wife in America. She was over there studying and they fell in love and decided to get married. They had a child and his wife wanted the parents-in-law to come and stay to see the child and look after the child for 6 months. That was the deal. Get them over on a tourist visa and they can come meet the new child and they can stick around for a couple of months and have that whole thing and then go back to China. So they organized it, got the tourist visas and all that. Parents-in-law came in, started living close by and looking after the kid and stuff. And 6 months ended and they were still there. And he was like, hang on, they were supposed to leave and the tourist visa only allows you to stay for 6 months anyway. But what he didn't know is that behind his back, his wife had actually gone and extended their visas and in fact put in a petition for green cards that he has to sponsor. And of course he wasn't happy about that because he wasn't consulted. But the worst part is that when he said he doesn't want to sponsor their green card because he didn't know about it and that wasn't the deal, she threatened to divorce him. So it's either sponsor my parents to come and stay here and get green cards or we're getting divorced. And he couldn't understand how she could be so heartless because, it just didn't make sense. Now this is where there's this massive culture clash. And this is something that I have to tell everybody who's going to get into a relationship with a Chinese person, be it a man or a woman. You have to realize that you're always going to come second and play second fiddle to the family. That's the way it is. It's an unfortunate situation. It's terrible. I don't like it. It makes me uncomfortable, but their parents and the family is always going to be more important. And that's because it's baked into the society.
해당 남성은 중국 사회에서 지나칠 정도로 강조되는 효의식 때문에 오히려 가정이 파탄나는 사례가 많다며 이야기를 이어갑니다. 그러면서 한국, 일본, 중국 3개 국가 중 유독 중국에서 이런 행태가 자주 관찰되는 이유에 대해서도 설명하는데요. 영상으로 이어보시죠.
Children are an investment to the parents. And it may sound harsh, but all you need to do is look at the recent history of China to understand why we have this situation. Like when I was growing up, people were still starving here in China. People were still coming out of serious poverty. They still are. Obviously not in the big city like where I live, but I see it all the time when I go into the rural countryside. There are people living in squalor and poverty, and it's got a long way to go, let's put it that way. So when you have children here, because you don't have sort of social systems like you have in a lot of developed countries, I mean, there are some pension programs, there are systems there, but it's not to the same degree. You basically cannot count on the government helping you out when you retire, right? Especially not in the rural areas. So what do? You have children, and your children are your investment. You pay for the best education you can for them, and you know they get their education, and if you can educate them better, they can get a better job. So if you spend more on their education, you can expect more returns. So it's really just a retirement fund, really, having a kid here. And I hate to say it, but it is heartless. And I've seen situations, and I know people that are so controlled by their parents, it's not even funny. You know, like 36-year-old women who are told that they have a curfew, they have to come back. Their mother won't let them, you know, do anything that they enjoy. Their mothers won't let them date. They won't let them go out and do other things because they expect them to look after them first.
남성이 설명하는 중국의 현실은 일면 잔인하게까지 느껴집니다. 당연히 중국 내에서도 정상적인 사고 방식을 가진 부모님들이 있을 겁니다. 그러나 문제는 이와 같은 이야기가 개발도상국 시절에 빈곤했던 중국에만 해당되는 것이 아니라는 점입니다. 물질 만능주의가 심각한 수준에 다다른 오늘날 중국에서도 쉽게 찾아볼 수 있는 현상이기 때문이죠. 실제로 결혼 정년기의 중국 여성 중 70% 이상이 차일이, 일명 지참금을 받고 결혼한다는 조사 결과도 있는데요. 중국 남성이 상대의 부모님에게 결혼 허락을 받기 위해 평균적으로 지불하는 차일이 금액은 3천만 원에서 8천만 원 사이. 도심이 아닌 외곽, 시골로 갈수록 차일이 금액은 기하급수적으로 올라가 1억 원 이상을 호가하는 경우도 있다고 하는데요. 여기에 더해 집과 차까지 남성 혼자 마련해야 하기 때문에 요즘 중국에서는 결혼 자체를 포기하고 평생 혼자 살겠다고 선언하는 남성들이 눈에 띄게 늘어난 추세라고 하죠. 마지막으로 이와 같은 현상에 대해 중국 남성은 어떻게 말하는지 영상으로 전해드리겠습니다.
If your girlfriend is Chinese and you're from the West, my girlfriend, I like my wife, and that's totally okay, and that's everything about that. But the truth is, you have to deal with the families. Your girlfriend's family. If the family don't like you, probably that's not a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, they might, well, not might, they will probably pressure her to leave you because
Yes.
I've got friends, like I got a good friend in Beijing, he dated a Chinese girl for 5 years. They were
5 years?
living together, but her family kept pressuring her every time she visited family to break up with him. And eventually the pressure got so much that even after 5 years of them being together, she broke up with him because the family made her.
Issues that the girl's family, they don't like it. They don't like you. Well, you're probably gonna never get her.
Yeah.
Even though she likes you, she loves you.
오늘 영상도 흥미로우셨다면 좋아요와 구독 부탁드리겠습니다. 항상 함께 해주시는 구독자, 시청자 여러분 감사합니다.